There's a reason this episode had to happen, because when I look back at my life creatively, there's never been a moment that technology hasn't surrounded itself in my development. I want to start with something personal. This song I'm creating, Save Me, which I use in my Trash Talk audio review, is one of the first realist songs I've ever created. I recorded it years ago on a BlackBerry and shot the actual video on a BlackBerry. At the time, we were trying to do something new and creative with RIM, a parent company of BlackBerry, and pitched the first ever music video through a phone idea. Grainy footage, bad lighting, no polish, just heart. The song came from my heart, was a personal story, and at the time, certain songwriters wanted to repurpose it. Some of the creativity in the song still holds up today for some of you out there. Back then I was trying to express something real. I wasn't thinking about algorithms or virality or the latest tools that existed. I was just creating. Then something wild happened. I took the song, released it, and then decided to remix Nicki Minaj's Save Me. That remix hit over 500,000 views in a week, and then it was gone. Same thing happened with Jason Derulo's What You Say. I'll include a link of the Life of Nice and Ill reaction to that video back then. Again, gone, taken down, no appeal, no monetization, no warnings, just erased. And for years, I never saw it again until I stumbled upon it 16 years later and realized I wasn't wrong. I was just early. That's something I had to come to terms with frequently. Because if you don't understand how technology shifts, you'll think quitting was your fault, when really the rules change after you got burned. Even during my corporate years at 1-800-Flowers, I was using tools that people didn't really understand. I was the most viewed LinkedIn connection out of my entire organization. Back when the mobile experience was evolving and social media was booming in 2015, 4 years prior, I was connecting to decision makers via the mobile API, which bypassed the desktop authentication of email. Fast forward, decision makers think they met an intern that worked at their corporation, when in reality, I was just spamming the connect button. It ended up turning into multi-million-dollar deals later on because I already bypassed that roadblock. This was something I randomly fell into, but recognized as a pattern. During my job, I used stuff like Upwork, Fiverr, even Midjourney in its early inception. I put together storyboards, rough ideas, and innovative concepts, and then globally, freelancers would help me execute things faster. Not to cheat the process, but to move it forward. That's how I got beer labels made for my brewery, because my knowledge in Adobe hasn't caught up to the execution of making the labels during the right time. That's how I accelerated design without burning money or energy. And 7 years ago, before anybody really knew what it was, I was using OpenAI, not to replace thinking, not to replace creativity, but almost to use it like spell check, like a reference tool, like a smarter Google. I remember telling people about it and they were confused. Today, I look at people on LinkedIn calling themselves AI innovators or trailblazers of automation, and I chuckle because when I talked to them about this, they looked at me like I had 3 heads. Some people would laugh me out of the room, and it's everywhere. This is important because this is how I see technology. Steve Jobs once said that the most efficient animal is a condor, a big bird flying that can glide and cover vast distances. But if you put a human being on a bicycle, he becomes the most efficient mover in the entire world. Technology is a bicycle. A calculator didn't change math. It changed what math could become. Because there's a difference between a basic calculator and a TI-83. One helps you get answers, the other helps you understand systems. And AI is the same thing. If you don't understand something, it often feels threatening. If you do understand it, it's leverage. And sometimes that leverage is the only way past gatekeepers. It helps you get past the people, the systems, and the cost that quietly starves and stalls creativity. I can't begin to tell you how many musicians, businesses, and breweries post the exact same Instagram graphics. Same fonts, same layouts, same spacings and ideas. Someone on my team sent me a poster and said, "Look at this thing I've been working on." My immediate reply was ChatGPT. And then I sent him 3 other businesses with the same structure. And he gave me one of these emojis. It's obvious to me because I've been tinkering. Midjourney, through Discord, Canva, Adobe, GPT, Weavy, Lala AI, Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And that brings me to something personal and uncomfortable. I took 4 photos of myself 16 years ago. I'm doing this because I'm assuming the photos are coming up on the screen. I was 100 pounds lighter, a different version of me entirely. I used those images to create artwork for the song Save Me that I plan on releasing later this year. Only as a way of asking myself to save myself again, to reclaim that hunger and confidence. That's it. When I showed my wife the image, she said that looks too AI. Almost like in the video when I referenced how she said my tune sounded on my voice. I got a little triggered, not because she was trying to hurt me, but because she missed the point entirely. Hurt me from what exactly? From the point that what I made for me was meaningful? From the heart of the song or the real intention behind it? The track was 16 years ago, but the irony is, it holds true today. We live in a world where photos are constantly touched up. Smooth skins that fix wrinkles, shrinking the waistline, I should do that more often, fixing the lighting. We pretend that this stuff is not happening. So are we really gonna pretend that using technology invalidates authenticity? Unless of course you abuse it? I don't think so, because we're constantly validating others' output of creativity. If the lyrics are yours, if the beat is yours, if the concept is yours, if the picture is repurposed from images that were you years ago, creatively, it's original and it's yours. People don't hate technology. People hate seeing the evolution of that person through the use of expediting technology creatively to put themselves in a position that they would often like to do. Because technology moves whether you want to or not. And those who fall asleep at the wheel often watch them pass it by. For a long time, I've been ahead of a lot of things, including technology. Bitcoin at 25 cents, AMC and GameStop before the pandemic, early YouTube videos before Vine and TikTok, 4K drones before they became mainstream. Not because I had a master plan, but because I was curious and willing to jump into something uncomfortable. Lately, I've become too comfortable. I like learning, I like experiencing, I like building. So why would I stop now? Why would I sit here and complain like an old head or an unk when 90% of what I'm putting into these tools is still 100% me? My ideas, my experiences, my work. Technology didn't replace my creativity. It gave me wheels again. It made me excited. It's motivating me to get up and do something instead of just sitting around watching things pass me by in resentment. So here's the summary. Tools don't make you fake. Timing doesn't make you wrong. And being early doesn't make you irrelevant. It just means you stayed long enough to see what's possible. This is starting Monday. I'm not rebuilding for approval. I'm rebuilding because I want to create again. And I'm done pretending the world didn't change. I'll see you next week.